Alright, this is our last video about traditionalism and modernism, and this is the big one. This is now creationism, the Bible, put on the stand against evolution, and this is a problem that still has not been resolved. Now, actually, also I included unions in here with the 1920s just to talk about them briefly, okay? Now, in the 1920s, there was a movement of fundamentalism. Fundamentalism basically went back to reading the Bible and going back to these things and was trying to fix the problems of these flappers and new morality. They figured that this was the way to do it. Now, they actually focused in on one thing, and they said that really evolution should not be taught, and this is Charles Darwin. And Charles Darwin's idea is that all matter of animals are evolved from something, and that the dominant species that is here of every animal has adapted and survival of the fittest has occurred. So Tennessee passes something called the Butler Act, which said you could not teach evolution in school. Okay? There was a man named John Scopes, and John Scopes was basically a substitute teacher. He wasn't even a full teacher. And his whole goal was to challenge the Butler Act. So he went into this Tennessee school, taught about evolution, and was promptly arrested. Okay, he went on trial, and famously the man seen here is not John Scopes, but that is H.L. Mencken. And H.L. Mencken gave us the phrase that we have for this trial. He called it the Scopes monkey trial. Scopes for John Scopes, monkey talking about evolution. Now the two men we have here going against each other, William Jennings Bryan, if you remember him from Populism, Cross of Gold. He's going to represent the Bible. He actually is going to bring up fundamentalism. Whereas Clarence Darrow represents a group called the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union. Now, the big deal here was Clarence Darrow actually defended Scopes. William Jennings Bryan was the prosecutor. Bryan is called in as an expert on the Bible, and famously they said that Darrow put the Bible on the stand. And there was a lot of interesting things going on with that. Challenging creationism, etc. What did they do? They actually upheld the Butler Act. John Scopes was actually fined money, and we kind of just moved along for that. Okay, but that's a big to do, because we have fundamentalism versus modernism, and that theme will be on the state test in some way, form, or fashion. So we've got to understand that the Bible was the fundamentalism, the traditionalism, whereas evolution was the modernism, or what society was saying was okay at the time. Now, just the last thing here, 1920s is a tough time for unions. Union membership is going to drop. Why? African Americans were excluded from membership, and immigrants were willing to work in poor conditions, so the union kind of dropped here. Basically, guys, when we have conservatives in office, union membership tends to drop, whereas if we have liberals in office, union membership increases, and that goes back to the economic system and where the money's being fed in. Okay, so that was the video about traditionalism versus modernism. Hopefully you got the big things there. The big things again were the fact that what women were doing was a big deal, the new morality, and then also the Scopes monkey trial. All right, there are 3 more videos about the 1920s and about African Americans and the Harlem Renaissance.